Welcome back to another episode of TVGP's Critical Misses, the show where Moon and I are catching up on all the hits we missed. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always is Moonpeer.
Howdy.
And we're watching, this time is 2017's Alien Covenant. I keep thinking it's Aliens Covenant, but nope, there's one alien in this one. Hatched in the last movie, so, he's just...
So,
yeah.
2017.
Uh-huh.
Why does that feel like it was a lifetime ago?
Yeah.
It's
there's
2021.
probably...
That's 4 years ago, dude, and it feels like it was 20 years ago.
Yeah, last 18 months have, been a little challenging.
The last 24 months have been a little
That's
challenging.
fair.
Let's get down to it.
That's fair. So, let's talk about what I know about this movie. I know that Ridley Scott directed it. The end.
Okay. Really?
I
literally all you know?
I have a prediction, though.
Okay.
That's literally all I know. This is the hardest one, because I feel like the osmosis I learned about Prometheus was, yeah, it's good, but boy, that alien stuff in there, huh? And it's sort of like, okay. I have heard literally zero about this movie, good, bad, or indifferent, which is probably its own telling story.
So here's my question then, because you probably heard about Prometheus because, as I mentioned last episode, that thing was hyped up the wazoo.
Yes.
So I'm curious if you heard very little about this, because they were like, oh, they're doing a sequel to Prometheus and they're calling it Alien something?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, and my first question was, and I'll get to my prediction here in a second, because I'll answer my own question. My question was, is this a sequel, a direct sequel to Prometheus? So here's my prediction. This is a direct sequel to Prometheus. Let's say here's what I think the story is going to be. A ragtag group of spacefaring pilots, all of which are actors we have never seen in anything else, decide to land on a planet that is definitely barren with nothing on it except for an alien and David. And they have to figure out, oh, guess what? Aliens. This planet isn't abandoned. Whoops. Also, where did Dr. Elizabeth go?
Elizabeth Shaw, yes.
Yeah, Elizabeth Shaw. Where'd she go? And here, hey, it's David. He's still creepy.
Okay, so you think David's back?
That's sort of my assumption, because I feel like it's going to be one of those things where eventually David's like, hey, by the way, like, what year is it? And they're like, oh, it's 2000 something something something. He's like, oh, cool, it's been 150 years.
Okay.
Where's Dr. Shaw? Yeah, I don't know. Probably dead. Whatever. I'm creepy.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
Again,
to echo, I know literally nothing about it. I have seen the movie poster that is to the right of me that features an alien going, like the aliens do with their mouth.
Is that the, like, full shot and it's just like a weird looking alien, like facing sideways?
Yep.
Okay, well, maybe not sideways, like 3/4 angle.
Yeah, just like a regular alien sitting there and being like, hey, I got a tiny mouth in there. Ha! Metal teeth.
Okay.
Rawr. Have I told you about the acid blood?
This takes place in 2104, by the way.
Okay, so sometime after Prometheus and sometime before the first Alien, I believe.
Yes.
Isn't it the first Alien in like 2300 or something?
Possibly Alien Timeline. I'm not Googling it for.
Oh no. Here we go. This is where the show ends. All right.
Yup. Oh, it's even better because this timeline starts with, number one, don't have a site called Digital Spy, and don't ask me to accept cookies when I open a site called Digital Spy, because that's just creepy.
That's interesting.
So the Alien timeline begins at 4 billion to 2 million BC.
Perfect.
So you know.
Perfect. Great. This is like some comic book movie thing where it's like, all right, 65 million years ago, the Watchers started the Marvel Universe. It's like, stop. No.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Eternals trying to make sense of all that stuff when that thing hits the theaters.
Yep. Yep.
But funnily enough, the 4 million one is the engineer on Earth, which was Earth
Oh.
apparently.
Okay.
So
Which we talked
that
about
makes
in
sense.
the last movie. Yeah.
Let's see. 2023, Wayland gives a TED talk, which was part of the promotional materials on Prometheus. I'm not kidding.
I didn't see that. That would be great.
There is a TED talk, and it's what's his face as Wayland doing a TED talk.
That's really good. I had heard people saying that there were like some promotional videos leading up to the release that that was tied into like some super minor ARG. That people were like, this is pretty cool. Like you got the actors to play their characters like in universe. This is neat.
Yeah, and I think Prometheus especially came out around that time when that was the new hot thing.
Right. The hot
Stargate
ARGs.
SGU had Kino episodes or whatever they were called.
Oh, sure.
Which was basically a 2-minute scene that was just released onto the web before the upcoming episodes. So sure.
Yes, the old webisodes, yes.
Yes. And everyone had to put their own spin on it. It was great.
Well, don't worry. In the Aliens universe, they're all dead. We don't have to worry about them anymore. Sort of, unfortunately.
Prometheus is 2091.
2091. Okay.
Is when it leaves Earth.
Gotcha.
And it was 2 years, 15 months, 3 days, and 2 seconds, or whatever it is that David rattles off at the beginning of that movie.
Right.
2092, Ellen Ripley is born.
Okay. That is
interesting. That's really specific.
Yeah, that's really okay. All right.
It's even worse because it actually says January 7th to be precise. By the way,
Alien fans, you don't need to be this detailed. Can I just have a simple one where it's like, here's where all the movies took place?
So yeah, that was 2091. This one is 2104. The Nostromo leaves Earth at 2120.
2120. Okay. Cool. Interesting. All right. Getting our Legend of Zelda timeline here.
Yes. But which version? Which universe is it? Is it the Dark Universe or the Light?
All right,
universe?
let's tuck in for this. Yeah, I don't. So what are your sort of pre-movie feelings about Alien Covenant?
Honestly, after Prometheus, I was kind of done.
Expectations and interest both very low.
Yes, it was very much the Star Wars prequel issue, whereas like
right.
I still love the universe, but these are not for me anymore, and that is fine.
Right.
If you adore them, that's great.
Yeah.
You are fine to adore them. They are no longer from me. And then the Mandalorian comes out, and you're like, "Ooh, yes, it is for me still. Thank you."
Hey, it's still for me. All right.
Yes, but at this point, I think I was like, I think I was too much of a purist to really get sucked into the hype for this one.
Gotcha.
I did go and see it.
Okay.
There is a lot I remember and a lot I don't remember about this movie.
Okay. Have you only seen it the once?
I have only seen it the once, and it was in theaters, and it was walking out of it with the Metal Gear Solid question mark above my head, being like, huh?
What?
It's just a box full of aliens.
Right. It's nothing.
I know that our correspondent, Mr. Mackey, has positive things to say about this.
Okay.
And from what I understand, he really, from what I remember from him talking about it 4 years ago on their show,
right.
He liked a lot of the character portrayals, and there are positives to be found in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I was very much like, but why an alien movie? Why? Just
that's a question you keep asking, where it's like, why do you need to keep bringing the xenomorphs back? Like, you're just yeah. I feel like that's one thing that I've been happy we've been able to capture kind of throughout the previous 5 movies, is even if we're looking at a movie that's kind of not doing it for us, we're at least finding some sort of silver lining. So I know
Like,
at
I
the
love
very
how weird Resurrection is. I can't help it. That movie
yeah,
is weird, and I love it for its weirdness.
Resurrection is very weird. So at the very least, I'm sure we'll be able to meet up here for the second half and say like, all right, that was insert emotions about the movie here. But you know, whether we feel positively or negatively, at least we'll be able to find a silver lining and then rate the movies because we're done here. We're almost done here with the 6-movie Alien quadrilogy.
Yep.
Yeah.
The 6-movie Alien quadrilogy, which we should also specify is only the mainline Alien movies.
Right.
Because, in all honesty, if we want to do something real dumb, we should definitely go and do the AVP movies. Because they are real dumb.
Yeah, they sound like they are real, like, full-on action movie dumb.
Yes, they are. And you have seen Predator, I believe?
I think I've seen the first Predator, but it has been so long ago, I don't remember anything.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
We will get there in future seasons.
I'm not going to even suggest what I was about to suggest because that was a stupid idea.
We got to keep moving on to other stuff, but we'll get to Predator and AVP here at some point because I feel like we both enjoy these movies enough that you sort of have to go whole hog at some point. But definitely not right now.
Like the third Predator movie might be my favorite, which is a controversial opinion, to say the least.
Interesting. All right, any final thoughts here for Alien Covenant?
No, there are some names in this. There are some names in this.
Okay.
There are 4 names in this. And unfortunately, we don't get Discount Tom Hardy back, so he can't act the crap out of the scenes.
Bummer, man. He was good. Yeah.
He's real good. Like, he's real good.
Yeah. I mean, once you got the worms coming out of your eyes, it's hard to come back.
No, dude, don't. Why did you tell? Why?
So gross. All right, on that note, let's go watch the movie.
Let's just go watch the movie. More weird worms, I guess.
We're back. We've finished watching Alien Covenant, the last of our Alien quadrilogy movies, rounding it at a hot 6. Yeah. All right, hot take here. I really liked Alien Covenant a whole lot.
Color me unsurprised.
Yeah, Alien Covenant is dope. Also, everybody is in this movie. Michael Fassbender, Billy Crudup, Danny McBride, Jesse Smollett, Guy Pearce is back without the prosthetics.
Is he? Oh, yeah, at the very beginning. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, being really weirded out by the android he just turned on. Yeah. Yeah, this movie was pretty great. I think of all those people, number 1, a little bit surprised about Danny McBride, number 1 being in this, and number 2 being pretty good. I think
Danny McBride kind of steals the show, I would argue, in this movie.
Yeah, I'm pretty used to him being in comedic stuff, kind of slapstick roles. It's nice to see him be like a pilot / scientist and kind of kill it and survive until the end, which was definitely not the way I thought that was going to go. And obviously Fassbender does a fantastic job with both of his roles.
I was going to say, he does one fantastic job or he does 2 fantastic jobs.
Yeah, he does 2 fantastic jobs sort of at the same time. There's like a million things in this movie. I was going to like figure out where to start, and I think that's one of my biggest positives and negatives about this movie is it is just chock full of stuff and cooks. But there's also like...
Yeah, it's not a slow movie. Definitely not a slow movie in the slightest.
And I think one of my big problems in this is there's like 17 characters in this movie, and I remember like 4 of them, and everybody else is just like, oh, that dude got killed by a xenomorph. All right, cool.
So you remember the four that matter, basically.
Yeah, I remember the captain guy. The
David,
like,
Walter, Tennessee,
yep.
and
What's her name? And
that's bad.
yeah, Catherine Daniels. I was
Thank you,
confused because
Daniels.
Catherine Daniels' actor's name is Catherine Watterson, spelled the exact same, and I was like, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. There, I mean, there are some pretty good other roles. I like that, and it makes sense why this is. Like, everybody is married to someone else on the ship, which,
Uh-huh.
you know,
Well, it's a colony ship with a
they're
one-way
going to go
trip,
settle a
essentially.
planet. Like, what else are you going to do? Um,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I really like the. I thought it was really neat that Walter. It largely starts as a movie just focused on Walter in. You're like unsettled by Walter at the beginning because my assumption was like, yeah, it's just David. He has a different name. He like changed his
Mhm.
accent. No big deal. So like it's a little unsettling. Um, the solar thing on the ship looks super cool.
Yeah, the solar recharge array that they have.
Yeah, super cool.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a sucker for sick ass ship designs.
Yes.
And like, you give me the Red Dwarf ship, which is a
Yeah.
Ramscoop powered hydrogen mining vessel. You've got the Nostromo, which is essentially just a tugboat,
Right.
and then you've got this thing, which is like a solar sail panel,
Hmm.
like monstrosity, which is cool.
It's cool as hell. Yeah. Um, I like that he has to wake up the crew and the captain immediately dies.
Played by James Franco.
Right, which is I didn't recognize him, and when he was like on fire in the pod for sort of obvious reasons, but when they cut to her watching the video of it later, I'm like, dude, that's James Franco. What is he
Mm-hmm.
doing in here? Um, but yeah, I like that the captain um that steps up is not good and no one respects him. It's very much like,
Yes.
yeah, it's very much like we're gonna try and do this thing. And it's like,
And
yeah, you suck.
I kind of hate to say this, but that's probably mostly because he constantly preaches to everybody.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, like, if you're listening to this, I apologize if that offends you, but I get no problem with your faith. It's your faith.
Yeah.
It's not my faith. My faith is different. My faith is
Right.
for me and me alone. Your faith is for you and you alone. And
Right.
every single speech he does, he's talking about his faith.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can tell the crew is just like, oh god, here he goes again. Okay.
It literally
All right.
comes up and he says it's even worse when he's happy, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a really good line. Yeah. Yeah, they find a transmission from Origai 6, which turns out to be
No,
Take Me
no,
Home
no.
Country
They are
Roads.
on the way to Origai
Oh,
6,
right. Sorry. Yeah, they're on the
and
way
the
to Origai
transmission
6.
comes from elsewhere.
Yeah, it comes from elsewhere. The Take Me Home Country Roads, which is really great. The Tennessee is the only one that picks up on that. He
I
says,
don't joke about John Denver. Is a
yeah,
quality line.
it's a real good line. So of course they do the natural thing and go, we don't really want to go into those flammable pods again. How about we just take a little hop and a skip over to this cool looking planet?
Look at the flip side. Like, this isn't a government company mandate this time, at least. This
Right.
isn't somebody saying do this or don't get paid. Like,
Well, and I like their reasoning of like, this just happened like a couple hours ago. You can understand why we're a little hesitant to get back in these things, right? It's like, yeah, all right, yeah, I can get behind that.
mhm.
So they go on a planet that, number one, beautiful again, just like the last one. I think this is New Zealand this time.
Probably, dude. It's either New Zealand, Iceland, or Sweden. It's one of the three.
That's true. And of course, it's like too perfect, and there's wheat growing there, and everyone's like, all right, let's keep
Mm-hmm.
exploring. Also, there's no like birds or insects or anything. Huh, weird. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
it's just like,
And let's let the dome soldiers play around with the plants.
right. This is I still don't know how to feel about the shot of like the black mist stuff going into the ear and the mouth. It feels like one of those things where it's like, I get it. Like, yeah, it's gonna infect him. Of course it is. Like, it's an alien movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, bad stuff is gonna happen. I like that the two people get infected. The one guy that's with the ecologist, it goes real wrong for him real quick. It just like it seems like it's maybe half an hour, and he's like on death's doorstep.
Mm-hmm. Maybe, don't get high on the job would be
Yeah,
my recommendation for that one.
it feels very much like an '80s slasher movie where it's like, if you're gonna have sex, you're gonna do drugs, you're gonna get killed. It's just like,
Yeah.
all right, fair enough.
Yeah, drugs and both of those are accounted for in this movie. So yeah.
Right. So yeah, they all rush back to the ship, which it's this. I like the through line of these movies, which is like, I'm going to uphold quarantine protocols. So it's like, good job helping him into
And
the
somebody
room.
else is gonna break her.
Yeah, like you're gonna be in there with this dude that is convulsing, and now there are spikes coming out of his back, which is an incredible scene of just like, yeah, you thought chest bursters were bad. Look at this spiky jerk that's coming out of him.
This is kind of what happens when the pilot has to act as the emergency medic. Like,
Right.
she loses it real quick.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's real good.
Tennessee's wife, which is just so sad.
Yeah.
Like, the two pilots are like the married couple who are like hot dogging it and crap talking each other over the radio and talking about each other's wives and stuff like that. It's, of course.
Yeah, I did like that whole like crap talking scene of everybody's chest. It's just like, yeah, that feels appropriate for a crew that has been together too long, like smushed together in space.
Wearing a cowboy hat. I mean, come on.
Right. Man, this alien that comes out of his back looks real good. This is
by good you mean gross, I'm assuming.
Yeah, gross and terrifying, and just like, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, all right, like this is modern CG, and this thing looks real good and like greasy, and doesn't have any eyes, and like not really a mouth, and it's moving fast. We got the whip tail coming back. Always a big fan of that.
Which comes into play soon.
Yeah. And then of course, this is such an incredible scene where like the two people that have survived are understandably freaking out about this alien thing, and then through a series of events, Maggie blows up the lander.
Is it Maggie who blows up the lander?
I thought it was. Yeah, Maggie it has the shotgun, and she shoots
so
like
the
one of the
pilot lady. I only know her as Ferris. That's all I know her as.
Yeah. Ferris is a really great name too. I like as they're coming towards the lander, it explodes about 30 times, and the ground crew is like, yeah, cool. We also have someone that's not doing great here, so this seems bad. Oops, an alien's coming out of his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
It came out of his mouth.
Dude,
What?
Easiest and quickest route to the exit, man.
Cool. Number one, I feel badly for you. There's a lot of people throwing up in this movie.
Yeah, there was. It was not great. I can't lie.
Yeah, this dude just threw up an alien.
The one bright side of it is a lot of it is blood vomit, and it's not the retching noise that you get with actual vomit. So
or we'll see later like that black vomit, which is I think way worse. I really like this second alien that comes out of his mouth, because it starts like hunting them / defending itself immediately and growing very quickly and just
Mhm.
destroying. There's like a throwaway shot that I think I will probably never forget, where the alien just like whips someone's face off.
Yep, that's the one.
That that's rough, dude. Like, that is woof.
Like, it's in the middle of all this gunfire, everything, and it doesn't even focus on it. Like you said, it's a throwaway shot. It's just a dude standing there. The whip crack noise, the tail
Yep.
swishes across the screen, and half the dude's face is vanished, and it's just like,
Oh, it's just,
mm.
and then it just cuts immediately. It's like, yeah, we got other stuff to show, and it's like, ooh, ooh,
Yep.
okay. Um, yeah, and then surprisingly, the hooded figure comes, and it turns out to be David.
Uh-huh. Did you see this coming? Did you know there was going to be two of them?
No, that was my surprise. I felt like they, like I predicted at the beginning, I felt like David was gonna come back in some form, because I feel like Fassbender is an actor you probably keep around.
Mhm. If the X-Men series is anything to go by, yes.
Yeah. Um, I definitely did not expect Walter to be an actual other android. And I did not expect David to be fully put back together. So this is the the part that where the movie kind of hits a bit of a lull for me, which is the two androids chatting with each other for a touch too long. um,
You don't like the flute scene?
that probably could have largely been cut or shortened significantly. I think it's important storyline wise, where it's like, I will teach you how to create something, which is the thing we're not allowed to do. Um,
And I will teach you that you are problematic.
yeah, because I think that's one of my favorite scenes of this movie, where Walter is like trying to get through to David, saying like, look, man, like, I'm significantly different from you are, because you legitimately creep everybody out. Like, you're just
I
a
wonder why.
full-on weirdo. And he's like, yeah, I bet I do. It's like, that's not, man, that's not what we're doing here. Um, I think that stuff is really interesting. I like Walter genuinely trying to help David, and sort of coming away from the experience being like, man, maybe I have a problem on my hands here. Maybe this is a bad situation.
Yeah, and I like the fact that Daniels gets it immediately. It was like this, mm-mm, mm-mm.
Yeah.
Something ain't sitting right here.
Yep. Yeah, and then we get a real, because David originally had said like, oh man, we like crash landed on the planet, and like, funny story. Dr. Shaw kind of like died in the crash, and all the biological weapons we had stored on the ship sort of like burst open in the crash. It was real bad. Anyways, everything died on the entire planet. No big deal. I'm the only one left. How's it going? Um,
Mhm.
and it's one of those things where it's like, are you sure? Because like, I
Yeah, well,
watched the last movie.
how did you feel, by the way, when they came up that mountain and then there's the horseshoe ship again?
I can't get enough of shots of that cool ship. I don't know what it is about that ship. Like, it seems improbable. Uh, we'll talk about it again here in the next scene, but like, I love seeing that, and I love hearing like the musical stingers from these two movies coming back. It's just like, yeah,
There
man.
is so, dude, like it's the first time I've listened and really noticed in this movie. There is so much of that John Williams Alien and Aliens score in here.
Mhm.
And then on top of that, whenever David is talking, they start throwing in the Prometheus score,
Yep.
which is a fantastic score, by the
Oh,
way.
it's so good.
And like they've just got it like very quietly underpinning him while he's talking about the quote unquote crash and
Hmm.
everything that happened. It's just very quietly going on in the
Yep.
background. It's like, hmm.
Yeah, and then we get to the scene where he starts talking about Ozymandias, and it's sort of like, ah, here it is. here
The funny thing is
here
I
comes the truth.
only know the whole Ozymandias thing because of Watchmen.
Right.
So
As
anytime anyone references that, I just think, okay, yeah, we're just gonna, you know.
we're gonna do some bad stuff. Yeah, and it's one of those things where he started talking about it, I was like, okay, now here comes like true David and the truth of it. So we see a flashback of what was purportedly a crash, which is the horseshoe ship returning back to the planet of the engineers. They're all super pumped. The horseshoe ship, like, prepares to dock with a bigger, cooler other ship, which looks dope. And then, David decides to just bomb and kill all of the engineers. With a biological weapon that kills all of them in like a minute.
And pretty much all life on the planet,
Right.
apparently. Sorry,
Right.
all non-botanical life.
It's true. All the meat, as he says at some point, which is a real great line. It's like one of his first couple lines after they meet is sort of like, all the meat, you could say. And it's like, oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's sort of a lot going on at this point where they're trying to communicate with the ship above the planet. What's that ship called? Oh, the Covenant.
The Covenant.
And they can't because of another conveniently placed ion storm. And then like a new alien shows up with like a kissy sucker face that...
Nah, it wasn't a new alien. It was the grown-up versions of the two aliens that were in the fields.
That's true, yeah. David tries to make friends with it, which...
Blow on a horse's nose.
It's a really great, super unsettling scene. And then the de facto captain kills it, saying like, hey man, like that killed like most of my squad. And David...
You want to tell me what's going on here?
Yeah, and David's like, oh man, would I love to. Why don't you come with me to the back room? I was like, dude.
Go down these stairs as well after that, by the way.
Dude, no. Dude. So he shows him how he's a little bit of an amateur scientist.
Zoologist is how he puts it, I believe.
Yeah, which he's got some bugs and stuff, and, you know, maybe an alien or two. No big deal. Why don't you go back here? Behind the beaded curtain. What could be going on back here? Ooh, eggs. Oh, fascinating.
That's the basement. Let's go to the basement behind the beaded room.
And, like, this is one of those scenes, man. Like, this gives me the heebie-jeebies the same way the first eggs in the first movie did, where it's like, I see that thing, I don't like it, it opened up, I gotta go. Like, my lizard brain is like, get out of here.
Here's my question, though.
Yeah.
You know David's up to something. He was 100%. Trying to commune with the alien thing that you killed. He was very clearly upset when you killed it.
Right.
There's obviously extra stuff going on here. Why do you believe him when the creepy egg he says is harmless?
That was the moment where I'm like, dude, no. He's super evil. Well, also he bombed and destroyed the entire planet. But also, that egg is not harmless. I know what's in there. And like, also, seeing that egg like close up now with like modern practical and CG effects, way grosser in like a pretty serious way. Yeah, he gets a face hugger on his face, and David is sitting there in like his best Willy Wonka, like, oh no, please stop, let him go. And oh god, like everything continues to go wrong.
Yeah. They do get through to the Covenant at last.
Right.
They explain the Lander situation.
Right.
Like McBride, credit where it's due, with a killer scene of him finding out about Faris's death.
Yep.
Like, it's like 2 lines and he nails it because it's all in the face acting at that point.
Oh, it's so good.
And then like, yeah, we're just gonna use the cargo lift. Let's just get off this planet with the cargo lift.
Right.
That's how desperate we are.
Oh, it's so good. And then, sort of alongside that, they find Orem, who has.
You missed the part where Oren wakes up in front of David.
Oh my god, David's throwing rocks at his head and being like, "Hey, good morning. What's going on? How you feeling? Oh no, your chest's so
talk
weird.
To you before you die.
Oh, it's so bad." And then like one of those things just comes right out of his chest again, which is just still so good and terrifying and the worst and incredible all at the same time.
It's a new one as well with like the longer arms and legs.
Oh man, just like
you did lose like 2 more people in the process, but who cares?
Yeah, like they're all getting. The most important thing is like, Walter is wandering around and finds some diagrams that David has drawn up, and Elizabeth Shaw's dissected corpse, and
there we go.
and some, crossbreeding he's been doing with the xenomorphs. Just a little stuff here and there, just trying some new stuff out, which is just the worst, horrible stuff. And then, of course, David is like, "Look, humans suck. I have a perfect organism that will just take care of everything." I really like this return to this like perfect organism, like this one.
Literally a direct quote from Ash.
Yep. And like this one like person that's like almost in love with the aliens to some degree because it's like this perfect form, which of course Walter disagrees. Sorry, David disagrees. And then we forgot to talk about David killing Walter originally, and then now Walter is back, and the 2 androids are throwing each other into walls. Yeah. He talks about having some improvements.
That's when David does the creepy thing with Daniels, after Daniels is finding the Library of Alexandria, essentially.
Yes.
And David is really creepy towards Daniels, not creepy in the slightest at all.
Yeah. Real bad.
And yeah, there's been some upgrades since your day, is a great line.
It's very good. Facehugger attacks a couple people. One of the guys gets a burn on his face from the acid blood.
The 2 soldiers, like the captain and like his lieutenant or whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, he like stabs it in like the debris sack on the side.
Right.
And like it obviously acid burns the dude's face, but then it also does let go, so one thing at least.
Right.
Stab it in the sack.
Stab it in sack. Let's go.
if only we had show titles for this.
That's right. Yeah, I really like this shot of them, like the landers coming in hot. Tennessee is just like, "I'm not stopping this thing. I'm getting close to the ground. You're going to hop in. We're going to get the hell out of here. Like, however many people you can fit on this thing, let's go." And like in the background is the fully grown like black xenomorph, and I'm just like, yeah, here we go. All right, let's do this.
Yeah, doing the full-on human stand-up as well.
Oh, so creepy. Oh, just like that 4-legged sprint it does is still so unnerving because it's like, I love it. Yeah, they all. I like that they torch the xenomorph with the jets on the thing. I'm like, callback. All right. And they kind of fend it off / crush it completely.
Yeah.
It's
a cool action scene, but I feel it's a little bit dragged out, to be honest. But they also have to take into account, you've got to like, okay, so you're unloading the crane, you're going to grab it in the crane is going to topple the whole thing around because it's clearly not a very well-balanced piece of machinery. Well, if you want to play Space Engineers, watch this for how not to build things.
Right. Well, and I think it also has to set set up Walter's return, where he's taking care of the guy who has acid burns on his face, and trying to say like, all right, while you guys are fending this off, I'm going to take care of this dude. We're working together. Everybody's going to get off the planet. Which they do.
Walter.
Yeah, a wink. And they get back to the ship. Everything's fine. Everything's great. Everything's grand. Except, as one might expect, the guy with the face burns totally had an egg in him. Which is that was my expectation. I'm like waiting, like excitedly waiting, where it's like, oh, there's another one. Oh, here we go.
Was some quick depositing work, though. Give that facehugger credit. He was in and out.
Give him a raise. Yeah, that's a real go-getter. Yeah, and then this one decides to kill 2 people in the shower, which...
There's the sex part of the drugs and sex reference.
Right. I also really like when the alien's little mouth shoots through like some sort of window and then through somebody's head. I don't know why that tickles me every time, because it's just like, bleh.
This is particularly gross because it actually comes out of his mouth. Like,
yeah.
It's so gross.
It's great. It's real good. So I actually kind of like this like chase / hunt scene that goes on, where Walter is directing them to where the xenomorph is, and Daniels and Tennessee are sort of finding their way through the ship to kind of lead it to the what bay is it? Terraforming bay. Yeah. Oof, not the Terramorph. That's the knockoff aliens, probably. They're going to bring it there, and they're going to kick that thing out into space, which sounds, like a pretty solid plan. There's a really great shot here that I feel that like they hang on for too long, and they kind of tip their hand on the Walter David thing, because like Walter David is like, go ahead.
Terramorph is 2 things off the top of this.
Okay.
It's Magic the Gathering.
Great.
And it's a creature in the Rim world.
Okay.
Books.
Sufficiently nerdy for both of them, and I have no knowledge of either one. There's like a shot where Walter David is like holding down his smile because he's like watching this thing hunt the other 2 people.
It's played so perfectly. Like, I will give him credit for this, because he plays it where he's like, is he holding back a smile? Is he showing concern? Is that deep breath when the alien gets tossed out into space? Is that because the humans have survived, or because his baby is dead?
Right.
Like, it's played
a fine line.
Middle of the road.
Yeah. There's I like in this scene how Tennessee and Daniels know this ship intimately, where like, of course, ejecting this thing into space doesn't go well. They like trap it in the first terraforming truck, and that gets stuck with the other one, and like the whole thing is, I like that Daniels is like, oh, you need to eject the other one. He's like, all right, got it. He like leans over and is like, bonk, and immediately ejects the thing. Like, he knows the ship, he knows how it works. Like, I like that. It was like, I don't know what to do. And he's like, nah, man, I got it. This is my ship. I'm gonna do this thing. And they eject the alien into space. I really like that scene of "Can you give a girl a hand?" where she's like cry laughing, which is the her being relieved.
Response.
Yeah, and then they say, "Well, let's not even worry about this planet anymore. Obviously, let's go to Origai 6. How's that sound? Our original mission. There's 2 of us and an android, but all the
and 2,000 colonists.
Yeah, we got the 2,000 the embryos. We got like 1,400 or something. 1,140 humans. Sorry, switch that. 2,000 colonists and the embryos. We'll be fine. We just got to get there. And the really great scene of Daniels going into stasis and saying like, "You're gonna help me build the cabin on the lake, right?" And David is like, nope.
What cabin? Cabin on the lake? What cabin? Shush now, shush.
Yeah. See you later, dumb jerks.
Mhm.
And then he like pukes up two alien embryos, which is rough.
Yep.
Although I do like the little like face hugger, like tiny little amber
Yes.
embryos. Those are real good looking. And then wanders off and lies about the crew getting killed in the solar flare incident. And that's our credits.
Yep.
Uh I like this movie a lot. I think it's to its benefit that this movie is booking the entire time. Like there's
Oh, it does not stop.
yeah, there's a ton of xenomorphs or protomorphs or neomorphs, whatever you want to call them. There's a ton of them. They're lethal. You don't know if they're defending themselves or hunting people. They are a threat. I like that you get not one but two teams of people that are getting hunted by a xenomorph trapped in a ship. Um,
Mhm.
that ending scene where they're leading it through the Covenant is really great. That updated like first person view of the alien looks super cool. Um,
Yep.
it there's a lot to like in this, and we talked about the soundtrack already. I like the escalation of David being like humanity's biggest villain, because he was
Mhm.
pretty bad in the last movie, and this one's like, how about if I just do more experiments on like a planet?
See, there are things I like about David in this and things I don't like. Like in Prometheus, David is very much a you kill your parents. That is what you are supposed to do kind of
Right,
thing. And very clearly, Wayland was the one who programmed him, so Wayland was essentially the only person he had to obey, it seemed like. So
right,
the second Wayland was done, David was free to do whatever he wanted. But there is a very much a you kill your parents message in that one.
right,
And the start of this is like him being disappointed by his parents again, because like Wayland says to him, "Oh, you're not human, so you can't create."
right.
Like, and that's where David's weird fascination with creation comes from. But then does that go backwards into Prometheus as well? Is that extra? Should have had that scene at the start of Prometheus maybe rather than the start of this
Sure.
movie?
Yeah, because I think we're seeing an escalation from where Prometheus David was like a curious child slash curious scientist. Like he had this fascination with like, ooh, the anticipation. It's killing me. Like, what's gonna happen? And this one is very much like, I know what I'm doing, but I need to create something, and music and bugs and all that isn't really doing it for me. How about I
Hmm.
create something better than the humans that created me? And I like that when Walter and David are talking, they never really they like dance on the line of like, is David like is his AI progressing? Like, is he changing? Is he progressing, or is this kind of the next natural step of David's latent personality? Um, I think that's an interesting question that we'll hopefully answer in whenever the next one comes out. Um,
Nope.
yeah. Well, shooting soon. Uh, but yeah, I like this one a lot. And I definitely like it more than Prometheus, which I liked a pretty good amount. But I feel like this one is much more focused, and I think it's really interesting to see. I really liked the first four movies for being like those anthology movies where it's like, all right, now it's my turn to make an alien movie. Here's my take. And this one's very much, all right, I'm going to make three movies leading up to the original Alien movie, and it's all going to have a through line and a very distinct ending point. How does this come together in like a trilogy? Um,
Yeah.
I like that a lot. What how do
I'm
you
definitely
feel here
a fan.
after your second viewing?
I I like it. I
Hmm.
do. I it suffers from the Prometheus problem for me, which is take this out of the Aliens universe, and this is an altogether way above average movie.
For sure,
It's
yeah.
when you start answering the mysteries. That's one thing start
Right.
bothering me. Like, don't answer the mysteries. Let me wonder. Like, one of my favorite TV shows of all time is Stargate Universe, and that only had 2 seasons, and season 2 ends on kind of a cliffhanger, where it lets you imagine what's going to happen from then on forwards,
Right.
and they don't answer questions like how did this ship get here, like kind of thing.
Right.
And I love the unanswered questions because not only does it give my mind space to wander into, it also gives extended universe people stuff to play with.
Sure.
Like kind of relevant, but the Clone Wars animated show would not be as good as it could be and as good as it probably is if it wasn't for the fact that the Clone Wars movie literally told you nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it doesn't care about the Clone Wars at all, even though
Right.
it's called the Clone Wars.
Right.
Or Attack of the Clones, I should say. Like, it doesn't care, and it leaves that space open for other people to come in and fill in the gaps. And I love that. And I hate this answering of the questions like, did the engineers create life on Earth?
Right.
Did the engineers create the xenomorphs? Did David create the xenomorphs? It doesn't matter how the xenomorphs were created. Ideally, they should be evolved.
Right.
Like, to bring in some other sci-fi stuff here, they should be kind of like Dune. The whole thing with Dune is it's a political and moral quandary and so on and so forth. But the big lesson in it is hard places breed hard people.
Sure.
So, like, people who live up in cold climates, like on the extreme edges of temperature and stuff like that, if you are born into that and grow up in that, you become a harder person because of the stuff you have to deal with.
Right.
And that's very much a core tenet of Dune. And I think the aliens would have been better suited being like, no, they just evolved from a hard planet. Like,
Right.
this is a planet that is pretty much toxic to everybody who goes there.
Mm-hmm.
But these creatures have evolved to literally be perfect because that's what they had to do to stay alive.
Right. That's the only way they could survive.
Yeah, I would have
Right.
preferred that kind of story
Sure.
rather than a crazy AI created by a crazy AI company / terraforming company owners,
Right.
mad inventions about the fallacy of man. Yeah,
Right.
we know we're stupid. Like, it's the whole, like, you have to know a lot of classic literature and things like that to get the most out of these two movies, I feel. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and you got the Ozymandias stuff. You've got the opera, which is the one where the dwarf brings down the gods. Like, there is so much classic literature and stuff like that in here where it's all about, like, it said so well in Prometheus, why did you build me? Because we could.
Right.
Like, that's how stupid humans are. We do things because we could, not because we should. Like,
right.
It's the same reason we go to LV-426. It's the same reason we do all this other kind of stuff. We get it. We're stupid as a species.
We're stupid capitalists.
Yeah. We don't need to be stupid enough to create a robot that then creates the perfect organism that then creates the perfect killing machine that goes on to terrorize us in the future, kind of thing.
Right.
I could do without that connection, the creation. Like, don't get me wrong, have him create stuff because that is a good thing for David to have.
Right.
Don't have him create the aliens. Like,
Yeah.
have him create something else.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, should we get into our rankings here?
Yeah, sure, why not?
All right, our number 6. I'll go. I'll start with you on this one.
Okay, number six.
This was an easy one for me.
It's not for me.
Okay. This was an easy list for me. I was surprised.
I know what yours is. I know what your number 6 is.
Okay.
I think. I'm gonna go 3 is my number 6. And I'm guessing yours is number 4.
Yeah, mine is Resurrection, like with a bullet. I think
Yes.
I think Resurrection is just not inherently a bad movie. There's some stuff to like in there. It just feels like a mess kind of the entire time. And It really didn't do it for me. Why is 3 at the bottom of your list?
Because I think, to be honest, I think we talk about this a lot when we're talking about the rankings. These are our personal opinions. These are not which are the
Yes,
best movies. This is our
right.
personal opinions on which ones we like the most. And I think that, technically speaking, I think your list is going to be the correct list. My
Okay.
list is going to be the wrong list because I adore Alien 3. I think Alien 3 is a genuinely good movie. I've just been so poisoned against it, and it's so long, and that CG has aged so poorly.
Yeah. And you've seen both versions. Like I've seen kind of only the assembly cut, which is
Yeah, I've seen the really bad version too. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, I think I've got a couple curveballs here on my list, so I'll be surprised.
we'll see.
Yeah.
Oh
Uh
God, I think I know what your curveball is going to be, and it's going to be so depressing. Okay, let's go.
number 5. What's your number 5?
4.
All right. Mine is
Resurrection.
Alien 3 for my number 5. Like it's fine. There's a lot of bald dudes running around a space station, a lot of lice. It's pretty good. There's a couple of good
It's so
kills
dumb. Come on,
in there,
we all
but
know
like
it is so dumb.
it has
Like,
one of my favorite shots in all 6 of these movies of like, hey, what's this thing? Where he's holding it up and like it's the silhouette of the facehugger. That's really good.
uh-huh.
But yeah, I largely agree with you. It's okay. There's some good stuff. There's that great line
Yeah.
from Ridley about you've been in my life for so long, etc., etc. Like that's
You missed your puh there. This isn't the Queen Metroid. This is the lady from Aliens.
oh, I said Ripley, but I'm very tired, so I'm
It
yeah.
sounded like Ridley, dude.
Yeah, you know, our favorite
Check
alien
points.
Ridley also has a whiptail. All right, what's your number 4?
Covenant.
Okay.
It's fine. It is a technically better made movie, I would say, than 4 and 3. But again, it's specifically that David creates the aliens, which brings this down for me.
Yeah,
It's like that is an end that did not need to be tied up. Have him wage war on the engineers, like, which obviously
sure.
it looks like he did.
Right.
Like, but come on, like, really, we got to
Yeah.
go there with it.
My number 4 is Prometheus. I think
Okay.
Prometheus is largely a really solid science fiction movie with what I think are some pretty fun tie-ins to the sort of previous Aliens movies. I think it's not as strong as some of the other ones for a bunch of reasons, but it's definitely not a bad movie by any stretch of the imagination. And it's just it's solid. It's good.
Yeah.
You're number 3.
Prometheus.
Okay, there you
go. Pretty much like you said, like, I prefer Prometheus over Covenant. I also like Danny McBride does a great job, but I think overall the acting in Prometheus is overall at a higher level, I would say.
Okay.
And Charlize Theron stealing it as she always does.
Yeah, that's a given.
Like it's a great movie. Again, it's just I'm slightly annoyed by the fact that it's looped into the Alien universe when technically it doesn't need to be.
True. Excuse me. My number 3 is Aliens, plural.
This is what I knew the curveball would be.
Yeah, I like Aliens a lot. I obviously I talked about it in our second episode this season that I like it less than the first movie. It's definitely not bad. I mean, it's a classic for a reason. I'm getting a whole bunch more references in pretty much every piece of media ever since I've watched it, which is a nice side effect. And there's nothing really wrong with it, which is I think pretty impressive. It's much more actiony than the first one, which I think for me means I don't like it as much, but it's not one of those movies where it's like, this garbage, there's 400 aliens. It's like, it's still very good.
I think for you, it's probably the thing that brings this down is the gung-ho military yeehaw kind of thing, which we talked about
never clicks with me. Yeah.
Because I think, weirdly enough, both James Cameron movies, I think Aliens and Terminator 2 are about as close as you can get to perfect action movies.
For
Like, it's
sure.
very hard to do action movies well,
Yeah.
and these two are two which are about as close as you can get to being perfect.
Yep. They're both
I
they're both classics for a reason.
Yeah, I think if it wasn't gung ho yeehaw American military kind of talk,
Right.
you would probably appreciate it a bit more. Like maybe if they were private contractors, but then PMCs that are a bit
Sure.
complicated these days to talk about as well. So
That's fair.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah, I think if it wasn't specifically that American style, you probably would have came at it a bit easier.
I think that's fair. Yeah. You're number 2.
Alien.
Oh, okay.
Yes. This is the bit where what I talked about a bit at the start of this season is you know what type of movies you prefer to watch for fun,
Right.
by which of the 2 Alien movies you would choose.
Right.
And Alien is a perfect movie. It's
Mhm.
not my preference
Sure.
for the 2 of them. Like, this is what we mean when we say these rankings are not about which is the better movie, because arguably Alien is one of the best movies ever made, period.
Right.
Like, even Mackie said, like, it literally has one kind of janky shot. Other than that, the thing is pretty much perfect.
Yep.
It's like 60 minutes before you see the creature. It's fantastic. It's all
There's like
tension.
45
all
minutes
the
of
time.
nothing happening. It's great. But like just ratcheting the tension.
Like, it's arguably one of the best pieces of cinema of all time.
Yep.
Easy. It's, if you have a top 10 discussion, it's in that discussion. Like,
Yeah.
and it's there for a reason.
Yep.
But if I'm going to sit down and I'm going to put on a 2-hour and change movie between the 2 of them, it's Aliens every time.
Sure.
And that's just because, honest, I also love the noises the guns make.
Yeah,
those guns make such unique sounds. That's how the Alien video games get me every single time, because they always use that sound effect.
And you're like, all right, you hold me back in, you jerks.
Uh-huh.
My number 2 is Alien Covenant. Probably surprising.
This is the biggest curveball.
Yeah, this is the biggest curveball. There's just something, and this is definitely not recency bias before someone starts throwing that around. There's something about it that it's kind of like...
Sorry, I just wanted to say it's critical recency bias, and you know it. You should not be taught in our schools.
For everyone listening, like 2 months from now, hopefully this is passed.
I hope that lands. I hope it lands.
Yeah. I think for me, Alien Covenant is kind of more than the sum of its parts. I don't have... This is probably higher in my list than it is yours, because I don't have the...
years of head.
No, I think... I'm going to say it like this, and I don't mean to be mean. It's just probably the best word about it. I feel like you have like a bit of like a preciousness about the xenomorphs and like the lore and the mythology around them, which makes sense because you have a much longer history with the franchise than I do. My history is what, like a month and a half, 2 months here. So I think for me, them kind of playing around with the origin of the species here doesn't bother me as much. It's kind of those things where it's like, oh, I can see all the pieces coming together. I can see all this stuff. I liked all the acting. I liked all the action. I liked the CG is real good in this. That dude gets his face smacked off. That's miserable and incredible at the same time.
It's a hell of a scene.
Yeah, there's like xenomorphs busting out of like 5 or 6 people in this one. Like, to me, it's like a hell of a movie that I think part of it is my enjoyment of, like I talked about with the first 4 movies, I like this kind of anthology director. They kind of, we're seeing a different take on aliens. And I like Ridley Scott and his team being able to have this through line with these 2 movies, and whenever the third one comes out, then we'll kind of hopefully see a real discrete through line between these 3 movies and then the first Alien movie. And I think that helps a lot. And like, Dana McBride does great in this. Like, I think half of my enjoyment is just like, wow, yeah, all right, this dude can act great. this is great. He's good.
Yeah. Apparently, he was really happy as well. He didn't get typecast as the a-hole comedy character because they die
Right.
real quick.
Yeah, the chubby funny guy that dies in like the first 15 minutes. Like, there's also a really great shot where Danny McBride, like all the way at the end of the movie, he's holding a gun, and what's her face is marching down the hallway, and she just grabs it, and the two of them just march off like they're all business. That's such a great shot.
Yeah.
Okay, you're number one.
Aliens.
There you go. Yeah. My number one is Alien. Singular. Very much. You called it 6 episodes ago, saying like, "Hey, I think you'll like this one better." And yeah, I for anyone that's listening that maybe hasn't listened to much TVGP, Moon, you and I have a hesitancy to call anything perfect, because
Yes.
I think I think there's some baggage around. I have some baggage around that word.
It's because
And
we grew up in the video game space where anytime anything gets labeled as a 10, it must be railed from the sky because it's not perfect.
right,
Despite the fact that a 10, even if it is a perfect score, does not mean the game is perfect. So,
right. It means
yeah.
here's my highest recommendation. I think Alien is like a perfect movie. Like I don't really hesitate to say this, and I don't know if I can think of another movie that I'm like, yeah, there's literally nothing wrong with this movie. But boy, Alien sure is.
Off the top of my head, I can only think of one, but we'll get to that in a second because it's going to go along with a question I'd like to ask you after you've talked about Alien.
Okay. But yeah, like I think your only recommendation to me for this movie was like, I usually watch these movies in like 2 or 3 parts because of how my schedule is. And you're like, just please watch this one all at once. It's really important. And I was like, yeah, okay. But like after about the first 45 minutes where like stuff starts to pop off and I'm like sweating with anticipation, it's like, all right, yeah, he was right. This is this is a one sit down movie. Like Alien is great. There's nothing wrong with it. They knock Ian Holmes' head off. How have
I was going to say.
I'm turning 40 at the end of next month. How have I not known about that for 40 years of my life?
Like, dude, I'm not going to lie. I was actually talking about this with Mackie recently. I was like, it's probably maybe one of my top 3 of all the podcasts I've listened to, of all the live streams I've watched. It's in my top 3 moments of random revelations that happens. It's probably number 2. Helen Mirren is number 3, by the way.
Okay. Is Brad Shoemaker's Phoenix Down your number 1?
No. I won't even go into what number 1 is because it's so stupid.
Okay. Yeah, it's one of those ones where like I dropped the F word very loud to myself in my office while I'm watching that movie. As soon as his head comes off his shoulders, like that's still baffling how I didn't know these 6 movies have androids in them. Like, it's just...
You're not even mentioning how many months and years of the video game cycle of, the Alien Isolation, which has androids in it, by the way.
Just no idea. Just, like, one of the largest, like, blind spots ever. This is why we're doing Critical Misses, though, to find out the Alien movies have androids in them. But yeah, I feel pretty. This was one of the easier lists to put together, where it's sort of like, all right, hey, I'm gonna put these down. That seems pretty right. So, but at the very least, very happy to see all these Alien movies and finally caught up, ready for the next one. Ridley Scott,
Yep.
let's do any time now. Let's do it. So your question.
Brings me to my question.
Yes.
Pick one director who
Yeah.
hasn't done one to make an Alien movie.
Oh, God. I feel like you're asking the wrong dude here. Because Mackie yelled at me in the Patreon channel for forgetting what...
James Cameron directed Terminator? Yeah.
Terminator. Yeah. Whoops. My bad. That's why we're doing Critical Misses, everyone.
Don't worry, I forget directors all the time.
Yeah. I genuinely... No, I think I said it when we were watching 3 or Resurrection. maybe I said it to my wife. I would like to have. Hold on, I need to look it up. I know what he has made. I would like to see Luc Besson make a Alien movie. The director of Fifth Element and
Fifth
other
Element,
films.
Leon the Professional,
Right.
Atlas in the Cloud City of a Thousand Wonders, or whatever that thing's called.
Valerian in the City of a Thousand Wonders, yeah,
That's
which
the
I still
one.
haven't seen. But
Dude, put that in the list as like a B movie that's actually pretty solid to
yeah,
watch.
I feel like he would make something that would be both really good and really weird and like sort of far away from what you would want an alien movie to be, but at the end you'd sort of be like, all right, I respect it. I'm not sure if I like it, but I had some fun.
Yeah.
And boy, those
Okay.
costumes.
I got three for you. Three
Okay.
directors I'd love to do an alien movie. In his heyday, classic David Cronenberg.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, sure.
You know, get some real body horror crap going on there just to really
Yeah.
mess with people. It
All
kind
right.
of fits in with the theme.
Man, I love body horror. Oof. That'd be
I
great.
hate it. That's the best thing.
It's so good.
Number two, Guillermo del Toro.
Ooh, yeah, you want to lean into some like gross practical effects and like there's no CG in this one. It's all tall dudes and a puppet.
Rippy stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
GDT
All
could
right.
really knock out the park.
Yep.
My number one choice is unfortunately one that has been rumored for years that he was going to do one, and he was penciled in to do one at some point. Neil Blomkamp.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
South African director of Elysium Chappie and
District
most
9.
importantly, District 9.
Right.
The only other film I can think of that is perfect.
Ah, I see. Okay.
That I would call perfect because it's a long
Right.
movie, but everything in it has a purpose going further down the line.
Man, that'd be great.
And he's wanted to do one for years. He's been on the ropes to do one for years.
Yeah.
And it's always fallen through for various reasons. The most recent one was Covenant was a critical and commercial flop.
Yep.
And also Disney bought Fox.
Right.
So.
Right. Man. Yeah, that'd be it's one of those things where it's like, boy, I'd love to see more alien stuff, but do you want to dilute it and do you want to run into the critical backlash that sort of modern Marvel stuff is, where it's like, please, there's so much of this.
Slow down.
Yeah, like slow down. There's too much. Like I even though I don't have much of a history with this, I feel like part of the fun of the Alien movies is like you don't get to see these things that often. It's not like here's the city of the xenomorphs, and it's like they're really misunderstood. It's like nope. Don't want them to talk or anything or nothing. Just want them to be scary.
So I would love them to do a show, like a Black Mirror two-parters, like two-parters over and over and over again. Like, give me one season, 12 episodes, 6 mini stories done by different directors in different states of the universe, kind of thing.
Yep. Yeah, give me like 6 stories of like first contact with xenomorphs in like all these different sort of environments. Like, yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, Fox/Disney. You want to hire us? Got 2 peeps who love the xenomorphs here and are willing to work for a reasonable wage.
Yep.
Yeah, you know where to find us. Patreon.com/E1M1. All right, I think that's it for our season 7 here. For season 8 upcoming, we're going to have our first. Moon had a really good idea. We're going to do like a short season here, just a 2-parter. What are you calling these?
They are twinned movies, is how they refer to us.
Yeah, so we're going to, we'll talk about it next episode when we start season 8, but we're going to watch 2 movies that came out around the same time that are strikingly similar to each other.
Suspiciously similar.
Yeah, there's a lot of shared DNA here. So we'll be talking about that for season 8. Just a quick 2-parter. Hope you'll join us there. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.